Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to more Spellbringers. I am very excited to be casting this game, because here at the corner, playing as the Order, we have Koth, that is the author of the map, aka Bobs in the Discord. But I always cast him, there's nothing special, he's in like every replay that I've done. But his opponent will be Deolrin. Now, this is exciting because he's a relatively new player, but he's actually the winner of the recent beginner tournament. And he's proven himself to be a very quick learner and has a very impressive game. So he plays a lot of StarCraft, or at least he has played a lot of StarCraft, and so he has very good RTS fundamentals, very good macro, good micro, good APM. So he's picked up the game very quickly, and he was practicing heaps in preparation for that tournament, which was about a month ago, I think. No, it was like 3 weeks ago. It was pretty recent. So yeah, let's get this game going. Now, I have kind of just recovered from a cold. I'm basically better now, but I'm hoping my voice will hold up after like half an hour of yelling at video games. That's the other reason why I'm kind of excited to do this cast, is that I haven't been able to, you know, do any shoutcasting for a while since after the tournament, and there were some replays that I really want to do, and I might still do them, even though there's like kind of a new version. It isn't released to public, but we're playing it internally. But still, the tournament games will be really good to cast. They were live streamed by Bobs and me. I did like most of the games, but then I had to leave actually to go back home. My flight was like during the grand final of the tournament, so then there was another person, Island his name is, who did the rest of the co-casting with Bobs. But there were a few games that we didn't get to do in the tournament, like some other series that were going on simultaneously, so yeah, maybe I'll cast those games too. So Koth has gone for a quick expand. This is a strategy that Order can do pretty well. They go Citadel first, and then they wall off. So that it's actually pretty safe, because by the time that your opponent's going to get there, like with this Scouting Looter, it's already walled off. And then he has Spearmen, which are a ranged unit behind these structures. And then just for extra defense, he's going for a Scout Tower, which has to upgrade to a cannon tower. But anyway, his expansion's already out, where we can see the hold only just now finishing for Deolrin. So yeah, it's a pretty good strategy. The only problem though is, of course, you're walled in. You're stuck. And so at some point you're going to have to destroy a building to leave that base. And with being walled in, it can leave you vulnerable to your opponent just double expanding. So what I like to do sometimes, if I see this and I'm nature, I like to just get another base really early on. And then it kind of changes the dynamic, because then you have to, as the player who has the double expand, you have to like defend against a counter attack. So again, when I go Order, like if I do this build and I'm expecting my opponent to go for a quick third, I'll then like to really try to push out with like a really quick, like a really punishing timing attack, fueled off by that quicker expand. But we'll see what Deolrin does. He does have several archers running around the map, and the archer actually has slightly less range than the cannon tower. So I don't know if they could attack this lumber mill. They might be able to, if they're over here, for example, because it's a difference of 50 range. 750 versus 700, and maybe they can attack it. I don't know. I stand ready. Deolrin going for his usual playstyle. Quick haul of elites, going to allow him to get the ranger research. It's a huge upgrade for the archers. It's getting upgrades. The weapons attack. No third base just yet. No sign of like a sky totem for a quick drop can be a pretty good way as well of kind of attacking your opponent. Now look at this. Isn't this beautiful? This is a new model. And I haven't actually seen this before, but I knew that it was in the works. So this is really cool. Nice. Hopefully I haven't ruined my zoom level. So quite a large group of archers. But with that cannon tower, he can't really do much. And there is actually a transport on the way. So the transport with the spearmen can be pretty deadly because the spearmen get access to... It's an upgrade called siege spears, which gives them really good damage against buildings. And so if you drop onto some kind of like tech building or resource building like this, it can be quite annoying for the nature player. The spearmen aren't great though against workers, so that's why the enforcer can be a good way of dropping, to drop the worker lines. But now Koth has destroyed his lumber mill and his tower. Now the lumber mill wasn't doing anything. Oh, this transport is like, might even be visible here. I think he just was out of vision. He was on the high ground. Anyway, a lot of archers, no phalanx mixed in, so he won't have a meat shield. Given that there's no enforcer, that's okay. But going for, yeah, a drop with a single enforcer. So that's deadly against a worker line. But gotta be careful he doesn't get shot down by an archer. Or a group of archers, I should say. Now, airship defenders, very powerful air unit, and now there's phalanx mixed in, so this army is really scary. And Deolrin now getting his third base, but the airship transport is here. Koth will scout this one. Will he drop the... He almost did. Doesn't go for the drop. The enforcer could kill that, maybe. It would take a while, though. So, he actually is just going for the worker line instead. That's okay, but there are a lot of tree herds here that can summon saplings to attack and also to replace the lost artisans. But now there is a push out attempt from Koth, has shielded this enforcer, and the hammer comes down, slowing those archers. Airship defender going to do a lot of damage here, needs to focus this one down. There is the dwarves for the repairs, the archers taking damage from the spearmen. Phalanx do fall. The archer, they can't really do much. There's too many spearmen, so that was like a really good fight for Koth. Deolrin lost a lot of archers as well as lost some phalanx too. But the thing is Koth did blow a lot of Spellbringer abilities. The dwarves, the shield, the hammer. And they can have pretty long cooldowns, as well as just the fact that the mana is being depleted. Where we saw no abilities used whatsoever from Deolrin. So that leaves him in a good place to attack, because then he has access to crows. If he gets his ultra, which he does, he can use the T-Rex. So using those Spellbringing abilities, you got to make sure it counts, and they did. I think for Koth, he did play that battle very well. You just have to factor in that now he's a little weak while his abilities are on cooldown. Okay, the enforcer. Oh wait, I missed the enforcer. My apologies, but it actually didn't. It didn't do anything here. That's so sad. It got multiple wounded artisans, but didn't actually get any kills. That shielded enforcer is a bit of a trouble here. But that's why I think dropping nature's worker lines is kind of hard, because they can just replace them with saplings, as well as just defend it with saplings. So I think going for tech buildings can be a good drop strategy too. Anyway, so the shield continuing to be a problem, but that's why the entangle can be pretty useful. If you entangle the shielded unit, then it can't really do much. Now the airship defender is a little exposed. Needs to make sure it's not caught out in the open. Dodges the hammer, and entangles the enforcer. Nice work, and now he can snipe down this airship. Very nice play. These archers are pretty wounded though, so he might want to back off. But there's a lot of archers in the area. No phalanx and meat shields. There's a lot of spearmen too. Focusing down the enforcer is what you want to do here. Nice. And there's the T-Rex. He can knock back these supporting units, leaving the airship defender exposed. That one can be focused down pretty quickly with no support, but there's another airship defender in the area, and there is the crows. Will do a lot of damage towards these spearmen and falcons, so they do retreat very quickly. Airship defender getting attacked. Looks like it will survive though. So Deolrin now has a 3rd and a 4th base, but at the same time, Koth has his own 3rd. So the game's stabilized a fair bit. We are also seeing the upgrades towards missile crafting, it's called. So the order upgrades are split between basically ranged and melee units. And air units too, but the spearmen have the same upgrades as the airship defenders. So it's a strong strategy to mix in these 2 units, also just because spearmen, they only cost gold, whereas in the airships a very wood-intensive unit. And then the enforcers have their own split upgrades. Whereas with nature, it's a bit different. With nature, all of their Hauler Warriors units, so the phalanx, the archers, anything from the structure has the same upgrade slots. But then there's another production structure, the Haven, like creatures, which is spiders and toads, they have their own upgrades. Okay, so Deolrin's going for this 3rd base. There is a cannon here. It does call down the dwarves to repair this, and a big counterattack from Koth, looking to defend this base. Going up the ramp, leaves him a little vulnerable there. Cannon tower is picked off, but another one's being built. Deolrin deciding to disengage. Oh, some archers get caught. That's a bit awkward, loses several. The nature army is faster, so he can't outmaneuver this, but the ramps are a little awkward. So does he go for a full retreat? Does he try to collapse back upon this? I think Koth has his hammer available. That's very strong to prevent retreats. Going for this base, maybe a little strange choice here, but going for the barracks does take that out. Ranger upgrade complete. Huge damage bonus. And there's the battle standard for extra armor. Airship defender, gonna get focused down. Enforcer doing a lot of damage. And there's the crows. Excellent damage versus these units, but still that armor difference makes, the armor buff makes a huge difference. Trying to retreat through the ramp.
I live to serve all believers.
He could have actually engaged him on the ramp. But anyway, his army's too small. What does the golden aura do? It's a armor buff.
Research complete.
Yeah, we have some spectators, which is quite nice. These are some new players, so welcome to them. And if you are watching and you haven't played Spellbringers or you haven't played it much, there are new players in the Discord. So if you want to play some games, don't be disheartened by the fact that there's, you know, a lot of very good players, because we do continually have new players joining who are looking for games. A lot of enforcers, more airships, and also now there's clerics. So mixing in clerics makes this army even stronger, because the clerics provide heals. Look at this owl. That's scouting from the Spellbringer. The clerics gives, yeah, huge healing. They also have the blinding flash ability, which has it's a small target and I think it halves damage. So makes the army even stronger by quite a lot. Deolrin looking for another base. He has so many bases though. But look at this, he's got 12 production structures, building sky totems, really good macro. As he's continuing to expand, he's also building more production structures, getting upgrades 2 at a time, really good late game transition, just making sure he has the macro. What he wants here as well is either coatls to take out the airships, because they have a very strong melee attack, they're an air unit. Or alternatively, or both combined, going for the fairy dragons. The fairy dragons have an ability called Null Bomb, which it's like a huge mana drain. So that's very good. It's very good against the clerics. Okay, and he's looking for a drop, I think. Yeah, my apologies. So 3 enforcers, he can drop the worker lines. Now there's a lot of towers here, which is good. This base, however, is actually undefended. So that one's pretty vulnerable, and It's quite close to where this army is. So he might want to put his army in that position. This seems to be the better place for his army. This base, though, there's a lot of towers, but I really like this. So, the thing is with this strategy, the airship defenders, it's one of the slowest units in the entire game. So it's very hard to, oh no, look at these towers. Oh, loses the enforcers, that's brutal. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's, those drops are really deadly, but that airship transport is super squishy, especially towards piercing attacks. Okay, Deolrin is pushing out. His army is slightly larger, looking at food. He doesn't have vision on the army of Koth, so he's going for some harassment with these Coatls. They have a very good air attack, but they have a pretty weak ground attack as well, which is enough to kill peasants. It's not very good at attacking like military units, combat units, but it can kill peasants pretty well. And he's found an airship defender, sorry. So continuing to harass, gonna force the army to retreat, but no, Koth is going for a counterattack. I like this, given that the army is very slow. He can't really match up against these air units. Koth, Deolrin rather, he uses the entangle. Buys some time, but not really much. Deolrin is going to reposition. He's going to try to defend this one, but his army is quite a ways away. Quite a ways away? Is that how you say it? Koth going up the ramp. It's very slow going up the ramp, but once he's up there, it makes him pretty defensible. Airship defenders getting caught. Loses one to the Coatls. Nice. And a lot of towers here. Uses the crows, so this is pretty good at defense, but again, the army is huge, so they get picked off very quickly. Deolrin is trying to engage up the ramp, but it's going to take him so long. The Coatls, they got to be careful of the falconers, and even the spearmen have really good anti-air attacks. All these falconers get caught though, so there's only spearmen for anti-air. Deolrin's army is such an awkward position right now. Koth is engaging here. Coatls come in for their powerful anti-air attack. There is the Archangel of Life and the banner. So really good abilities there for the order player. Here come the Coatls picking off those airship transports very quickly. Even spiders mixed in for the area of effect damage. But that Archangel is doing so much work with these resurrections. Resurrecting the clerics, the enforcers, trading very well given the awkward positioning there of the nature. But the whole army has joined the fight. More airship defenders will reinforce, but the Coatls are there to pick them off on arrival. T-Rex comes down to knock away some units. Looks like Koth has won this fight despite his army being much smaller, but he just made really good use of that ramp, and Deolrin engaged very awkwardly, given there was the ramp there. So I think Koth made an excellent decision. Rather than turning to engage here, he actually got the base and traded really well. So yeah, that was great. And that Archangel of Life also did a fair bit of work. Unfortunately the Archangel of Life can't resurrect airship transport, airship defenders. But still, got a lot of resurrects. To answer the spectators question, the falconers, well, look at these colors. The falconers have really good anti-air. They summon falcons, which attack the Coatls. You can see that. So having the falconers means the airship defenders are a bit more secure from those falconers. Koth's a bit caught here. He's looking pretty good right now just because he has so many bases. But his army is pretty small. He's retreating, which I think is clever because he needs these airships. Oh, he's losing a lot of units though. Now that being said, Koth, Deolrin hasn't used his Great Stag. That's his ultimate ability on the Spellbringer. Let's see if he uses it. Archangel of Life already deployed. Okay, there's the cloud. That makes all units fully immune to damage, but it's very easy to just avoid. As we can see here, Koth pulls back, and there is the Great Stag for the extra heals. as well as mobility bonuses, but there is the banner for the armor. Very good choke point as well. Really good engagement for Koth. Crusaders in the front, soaking up the damage. Airships and the spearmen dealing the damage. Spiders a little late to the fight. But still, the army's getting cleaned up. Coatls do a little bit of damage, but the crows will take them out. And that stag making a lot of difference. It allows the phalanx to close in very fast, provides heals. The range is going to take out this airship, and now Koth's in a bit of trouble. The base is mined out, but this is his production. Oh, look at all these clerics go down. The clerics on their own, very weak. But they do make a big difference when they have heals towards armies. Airship Defender spawns on top of 1,000,000 ranges. That's unfortunate. Phalanx in the base. Rangers in the base. This could be the GG for Koth because his army is going to spawn on top of a huge clump of rangers. But there are Crusaders coming out, and they are an excellent counter to the rangers. The spiders won't really do a lot versus these Crusaders, but they have really good damage versus farms. Airship Defender on top of these rangers. So this army will get cleaned up here. Avatar, no taunt. Ah, that taunt could have kept that alive for a little bit longer. Okay, Koth has managed to hold his base. I thought he was going to have to start building more production structures because he had plenty of income, but not many structures, or at least not if they get picked off.
I await your command.
Okay, we have the Enchantresses mixed in. So they're really good because they have the Leech Seed ability, and that counters the Crusaders very well. So the Leech Seed, it targets an organic unit, and it will kill that unit after about, I think, 15 seconds. It's X% of health over time. And then off of its corpse, it spawns saplings. So it's very good countering these Crusaders that are quite expensive and quite tough units. Deolrin going to attack, going for the main base, not for one of the expansions. Maybe not the best play, but we'll see how it goes. Leech Seed, very deadly. Let's see, gets many of these Crusaders, and the Crows comes in. Now this Airship Defender is going to get picked off once it gets focused. No retarget there, but still the army is disappearing rapidly. Oh, a huge rally of clerics. Not what he needs. Deolrin once again going for the kill. Airship Defenders on this high ground, very, very effective, especially given that there isn't many ranges. There's not much anti-air. It's primarily just Phalanx and Enchantresses. But he's going to lose these clerics. These clerics are really weak on their own. Of course, not having any kind of units to actually heal. There isn't, you know, Crusaders, Enforcers, Spearmen. They can't heal the Airship Defenders. So the army's cleaned up though. Again, Deolrin, he trying to kill the base hasn't quite worked out. He's continuing to mine the corners, so the game is looking pretty close still. My apologies, I haven't turned off one of my apps that's making noises when I get a message.
Ready for action.
Building more Coatls for anti-air. He's continuing to build a lot of units. So we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 bases for Koth. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Deolrin. The natural and the main base have been mined out for both players. 4 base against 4. Let's see if we have more big Leech Seeds. I think the mana isn't available. How much is it? Is it 150? The Crusaders are looking for some kind of harassment. Yeah, this base is exposed. Both these bases are exposed. This is quite nice Crusader play. He's a lot more mobile than even the nature army. And meanwhile, look at this. Koth is building towers. So it's a two-pronged harassment. The cloud is used. He can keep these units alive in the cloud. Interesting. Forces the Crusaders away up here. 1 leech seed, 2 leech seed. Taking out more of these artisans, but the army has arrived. And he's going to lose all of these Crusaders to the leech seed. Such a deadly counter. So that's why Spearmen are very good against the Enchantresses. Look at this. Look at this mass Spearman army. This is amazing. The Spearmen are very cheap, and they have the piercing damage, so they can kill those Enchantresses pretty quickly. So this is a pretty scary army. Look how many airships we have. What is that? 7 airships. Clerics and Spearmen. This is going to be a tough army head-on. And it's lacking Falconers currently, so it's a little vulnerable to air, but even that many Spearmen can take out Coatls pretty quickly. Oh, look at this cannon. It's taken out several artisans. They were wounded earlier from that Enforcer drop. The ones from the main base. Finally getting those kills, but it didn't do too much. Meanwhile, it did buy time for this huge army to assemble. And Deolrin's looking for harassment. There is actually anti-air towers though. The Falcon towers. So good work from Koth mixing those in. And again, building a lot of towers is really good when you're playing with this airship strategy because they're so slow. But for the nature player, his army's a lot more mobile. You don't really want those towers because it's kind of a waste of resources. It's going to take out this base. Meanwhile, Koth is he pushing? He's a little indecisive. Is he going to punish bases, or will he go to defend? Looks like he's going for the main base. Okay. Yeah, the transports, the defenders, sorry, they really can't respond to this. So it's a really good play from Deolrin. Like when your opponent has this many airships, they're probably going to kill you in a fair fight, but you can just go around killing bases and it's hard for them to react. So that's kind of how you want to play against this strategy, is really use your mobility to its advantage. But at the same time, Koth is looking for the kill with a lot of airships. The cloud comes down. Koth simply just disengages. So that's really how you counter the cloud, is just run away from it. It is a very strong ability, but it can be mitigated. I mean, at the same time though, if there is a big fight, running away from it can be quite costly because it means your army's getting attacked. But that cloud wasn't particularly useful there. And now we have a lot of Falconers for anti-air. So these Coatls gonna have a harder time, but they have found one airship defender caught out of position. The army from Deolrin is slowly retreating, but again, look at the ramp. The ramp being a huge problem for the nature army. All the tree herds getting collapsed upon. Defenders are a little exposed here, even though there are some crows. The rangers getting some damage, get one airship defender. They're picking off the reinforcements. But now the airship defenders are in the main base of Deolrin, and they're doing so much damage. Level 3 damage attack, damage upgrade, taking out these buildings very fast. Spearmen as well with their siege spears. Here come the Coatls. There's a lot of spearmen to zone them away. The army from Deolrin is picking off the stragglers who weren't able to climb the ramp in time. There is the Archangel of Life and that Banner of Command for the extra armor. But the Great Stack in turn for Deolrin, having those heals, but still stuck on the low ground. Archangel of Life not quite getting some reinforcements, so some resurrections rather, but look, more production structures getting killed. Deolrin needs to build more production structures now in another base. Here comes the army finally, going to be attacking into this position, but with so many airship defenders and no anti-air, it's doing so much damage, especially with the Archangel of Life for those resurrections. Huge army, and that's a good cloud, but the army is too small at this point. He's going to lose all of his DPS. Oh, and there's the GG. Deolrin quits. That was an awesome game. I really enjoyed that. Deolrin played that game really well. but his biggest problem was getting caught in those ramps. And that's, I think, what's really unique about this map, Fighting Spirit. Oh, I don't have the score screen, my apologies. Fighting Spirit has these choke points that are really brutal in a way that other maps don't. Most other maps are a little more open. He got caught on the low ground in those two really key fights. So I think Koth had really good decision making. He took both of those fights on the high ground when it wasn't necessarily the obvious thing to do. Like when he lost his corner bases in the bottom left, he could have tried defending, but he didn't. He went for the main base. And with those airship defenders, you really have to force an engagement where it matters because they're so slow. So yeah, really good play from Koth, as well from Deolrin, but unfortunately having those engagements on those ramps or near the ramps was sort of why his army didn't fight as well as it could have in the open. So yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for watching, and if you want to play, you can join the Discord, get access to the game, and play with us. See ya.